Hello, everyone. Welcome to Old World. We have another match of the 2025 Network Tournament. This match is going to be, let me just post a link here in Discord. This match is a round one elimination match between opponents FonderCargo and Blaj. Both players have played a round in the tournament so far in the upper bracket, and both players, unfortunately, were defeated by their opponents. FonderCargo faced Aaron in a very tense matchup, and Blaj and Sabretooth. Blaj fought to the very end in his match against Sabretooth, hanging on to the bitter end, trying to wait for some pikeman timing to come online in order to outlast the fierce opponent, Egyptian Lancers. But unfortunately, both players did see defeats and now are up for elimination in this match. So, to take a look at the map here, we have a continent map, duel. We are on wide. So despite being wide, our capitals are only about 48 tiles apart, give or take. So a bit of a tight arena here. Let's do a map. Let's do a city site count. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on each side. So 12, and then 2 in the center. So we're looking at about 14 city sites. Yep, new game. Welcome to the chat, Fluffy. Also, if you're joining us after the fact on YouTube and you've been enjoying this content, I'm going to do my obligatory self-plugging here of please like, please subscribe. Also, hop onto the Mohawk channel, and you can find the playlist has over 60 videos, I believe, in it at this point. We're covering the majority of the matches, but yes, we have a new game today, and it is an elimination match. So whoever loses this battle will be officially out of the tournament, unfortunately. And the winner will be tasked with fighting their way up the elimination bracket to try and stay in the tournament. We have 2 dies, an iron, and it looks like a pig. Yep, a pig in the capital. Potential possibility to grab this fur, but it might be a little bit too far. Some groves nearby, a really nice marble nearby as well, with a horse. The free site looks pretty shitty. As far as I can tell, apart from these grove resources, there are no real resources around. Lots of groves in the region, though. Would be really interesting in a game like this. Oh, that's cool that you can add it to the playlist while it's ongoing, Fluffy. That's really cool to know. Yeah, so it seems we have 2, 4, 6 groves in the region, 7. So it would be interesting to if anybody decides to make a land consolidation push. I feel like there's not enough map knowledge right here to really give insight to that. But we haven't seen, I don't think we've seen any land consolidation beelines. It is a strategy that can work. It does leave you a little bit exposed. Not much in the way of military on there. You're kind of looking at bonus units. Maybe if camels or elephants were nearby, that could be an interesting little meme strategy you could run off of. And of course, my favorite thing about running up here real quick is you get a free horseman. And this is actually pretty solid for a 6 strength routing unit to grab early, especially if you're somebody like Babylon or whatever. You know, Babylon could get up here real quick. Rome could get up here real quick. Gives you a really nice early mounted unit for routing capabilities. That's a thing I'll do every now and then, at least in single player. I don't know if there might be a little bit of delay getting started here. Both players are in the game. Oh no, we have our first pick. So we have a Rome. So both players, it looks like Fonder was first pick here. We have Rome and landowners. Let's take a look. Oh, sorry, Blaj. Blaj took first pick. And we have Rome landowners. Pretty solid. I like this pick. Get that iron online really quickly. Also, Rome, I really like the landowners opener on because it gets you that extra growth in the capital. Yep, some interesting movement here from the lake. Oh, and fun fact, cool. Thanks for pointing that out. Chat, let me just confirm, double check this. In fact, let's see here. Yes, this is the final elimination match of the first round. There is one more ongoing at the moment. But, yeah, this is the final one that was yet to get started. All right, so we have Greece in this corner, and we went straight for champions. Fonder goes straight for champions as Greece, which does make sense with the iron in the capital. I definitely don't hate landowners instead, but of course it's very hard to pass up iron when it's nearby in the capital. All right, so we're moving forward. Got the dye that went straight for the dyes. There's no real immediate growth resources to grab right away. One thing that I'd be curious to see is this is something I've done for now and again. All right, we're also going with the dyes here. Sometimes you don't really have the best terrain for it, but every now and then, oh, they don't start administration. Who am I thinking of? Sometimes if I have an administration start and I don't have the ability to get a grove resource online, I don't hate the idea of just opening with a granary, because it still has the same effect of giving you 2 bonus growth to start the game with. And the scout for the Roman side went up this way. So, all right, we have an intelligent schemer on Rome, popular pick, trapping as the first tech, and we have, oh, great, okay, an intelligent schemer on Greece, and we're going for divination. So a bit of a meta forming around that. That's fine. It's not a bad pick. It's a strong pick. But what's interesting is the arena that we're dealing with. I think some archetype choices are getting slept on a little because how many sites did I count again? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so there's 14 city sites on the map. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm pretty confident that a hero on its own. Especially you got Rome, right? So you have that extra fatigue. So like a swift hero or a besieger hero to open on Rome could probably clear this entire map in maybe 20 turns. Especially if you open with champions. So, I mean, not to say that people should be running heroes, but schemers have been showing to be a popular pick. And I think it's just because they're doing well. And so I think, given the competitive arena, people want to do well. So they're starting to pick strong performing archetypes. All right, yes, we have 1 tribe on the map. 4 Gauls. So that's good. Nobody picked Carthage. That could have been... Although Gauls are pretty good mercenaries, too. Of all the... I mean, I guess technically Thracians with their Highlander promotion, they're pretty good, too. Alright, so Schemer versus Schemer. There have been 0 heroes or raiders or diplomats picked. Alright, well, we're going to have to change that now, won't we? Sino. Maybe once I start messing around in the tournament, I can show some other archetypes some love. Now it's not going to be cool if I run a... Yeah. Orators cosplaying as Carthage are totally a thing. I'm actually surprised we haven't seen anyone bother with that. But, you know, I guess people love legitimacy, so that does make sense. Like to see this harvesting here. That's awesome. 2 harvests real quick. That's an extra 20 culture right away. Let's make a comparison on this side. See if we did the same with Greece. No, we didn't, but we don't really need to with Greece. But look, with that 2 harvests, we actually already have more culture than Greece. They'll obviously get... to developed faster than us anyway because of the culture. Actually, no, it's pretty even. And here we are. We have another. I think that must have just been an event. Or no, the dyes are online. So check this out. 2 harvests get us developing culture in 12 turns with our regular culture rate off of what we're working with, right? Just 2 harvests. And compared to Greece's natural culture rate, they're also going to get there now in 12 turns. So that's a really nice contrast here to compare. Just the value of, this is something I always pay attention to myself. Obviously, since it costs orders, it can, reduce your ability to scout further out. So I'm not saying this is something you should always do. We're going to get another harvest there, maybe. No, we're getting into the woods. But when I have a start like this where I can see groves nearby, I keep in mind of like, well, what's my culture priority? So something like if I have a judge archetype to start, if there were like a trader's family with a judge, I would definitely prioritize harvesting this culture. Things like that. Or I might even come up here and harvest the fur. It looks like we did actually already. So getting yourself to develop really quickly when you have certain archetypes is super helpful. And it's helpful in general, but that's nice to see an actual comparison between somebody who did harvest it versus someone who didn't, because now we have 11 turns on Rome versus 11 turns on Greece, even though Greece has their latent culture boost. So that's cool. Orators do work. Maybe I'll, everybody took my schemer idea, so I think maybe I'll have to do, something fun with an orator or a hero. But no, I really think a hero could work on a map like this, or a zealot. A Roman zealot would be really great, because again, Roman zealot, champion start, get your iron online, build a bunch of warriors, and just launch them across the map. Of course, that's really risky, because if your rush fails, maybe that would just lose you the game, because now you're behind developmentally. But it depends. Meta is an interesting thing, right? Because meta is how players basically respond to what players are doing, but not in the game that they're actually playing, but in games like that we've all watched and seen. So it's interesting. If everybody starts rushing everybody constantly, right? Well, then everybody's prepared for rushes. If everyone starts playing a builder meta where we're all building up, then everybody's thinking about like the builder meta. So it's like, it's interesting to see the way meta can impact game choices. And I think the schemer situation now is just a result of meta. Not that it's not strong, but I don't think it's unbeatable, because I mean the main thing is science only gets you so far, right? And we have seen, I don't know enough that we've seen it consistently, but we've seen people, at least a decent amount, develop a strong science lead, but still lose the games because they don't have a big enough army. Forestry focused marked for Rome. Let's take a look at that. Yep, that's nice. Oh, we have it. So cool. This is awesome. I actually called this out earlier. I think before Rome was actually picked, but there are enough groves in the region that land consolidation beeline would pay off quite nicely here. So I'd love to see this actually become a thing. And with the schemer, you'll definitely have enough decent base science to get up that high. With little development, and then what you'll have is you'll solve the problem of what happens once your schemer dies, which is you'll have a solid layout of science across the map. We have 2, 4, no, 2, well, no, wait a minute. This would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 science in this region alone before we even put gardeners in there. So that's nice to see. Let's take a look at Greece's tech path, if they've marked anything. Nothing marked on Greece. We did get our divination, and we went artisan second. We're going straight for Shrine of Hades right outside the volcano, so that's a nice synergy there. Artisans Greece already has really solid culture output, so that's a nice thing with the Greece bonus, is that every culture level up you get is going to give you you know, a new event, a nice burst, so that's going to give you good momentum. We've cleared this site down here. We have the free settler coming on the way and another settler in Pella coming out. So that's solid. Lack of military units. So let's look over at Rome here. Yep. So this is actually a great example of what I'm talking about with the concept of something like a hero or a zealot, right? And again, it's very risky because you never know what your opponent's going to do. But think about the situation that these guys are already in. We have one very wounded warrior stuck at this camp. We have one very wounded warrior stuck at this camp, and no one else is building military units right now. So let's say, in theory, I built the champs here, and immediately after my settler, I built another warrior. And then I built another warrior immediately after that, right? By turn 12, I would have 3 warriors on the map with a zealot on the throne. These camps would be cleared very likely, or just about getting cleared. So then I would be about right here with 3 warriors, right? Maybe I delay my second settle and I just deep settle it in the center of the map. Again, I'm not saying this is a game-winning strategy. I'm just observing this type of situation and seeing ways that you can throw a wrench into an established meta. Like if everybody, this whole worker first situation, settler first situation, we've been seeing lots of play styles like this. And I feel like if somebody comes at you fast and hard, well, what are you going to do? What happens if only something as simple as 3 warriors just come out of the fog right in like the next 2 turns? That's going to be a really big problem, especially with a statesman seat. A zealot could just enlist this guy. So then you're a starting warrior and now fighting for the enemy. So I think there are other options, basically, is all I'm saying, about the possibilities of these opening formats, especially in the smaller arenas. You're not going to want to do that if it's like a tiny wide map because this is dual wide, right? Yeah, dual, because you'll be too far away, potentially. But you could definitely launch yourself across the map in a dual continent map. Yeah, elephants on growth. Do we have elephants nearby? We have elephant right here. That's solid. Do we have camels anywhere? No, but plenty of elephants in the center. So land consolidation will continue to make sense and pay out long term. If we want to put elephants on the map, of course, Greece's unit will indeed mess elephants up quite a bit. So maybe elephants are going to be more of a Greek play here if they climb high enough. We do have aristocracy coming down the pipeline. Let's take a look at the starting science. 23. Yeah, both exact same amount of science for each nation. What's interesting is technically, I guess, a slight science lead will head to Fonder here on Greece because his cities will culture up, level up faster. But yeah, I find this fascinating for Rome that 2 cities settled and we don't have a champ seat yet. I think the nice thing about that, though, is if he does have a window to bring in elephants before the Greek unit comes a problem, this site then would be a decent spot for champions. Because I think a champion city with no other development should be able to bring in an elephant in about 6 turns. So then you add in like a barracks and stuff, and it gets even better from there, I think. I don't know, I'm just going off the top of my head. We're getting husbandry, which I like, because we do have the horse and the pasture. Our choices were labor force, military drill. Yeah, so that's interesting as well. Another kind of example of kind of going... This doesn't mean this is a bad pick, by the way, but just another kind of example of going more towards economic development rather than military development. Another opener you could do as Rome, especially with a military archetype. You get an early barracks, because if your opponent's getting things like husbandry and going up to land consolidation with their fancy schemer tricks, while you just spend most of your science economic, because it would still take you longer to get military drill, right? To get, just trapping and military drill, you build a barracks, and then you just spam units relentlessly. Oh, then your opponent could have a hard time dealing with that. We finished husbandry, and so we'll have a tech choice here with Military drill. Yep, nice. And that, I think, is the correct play. Definitely want to grab military drill early in these type of smaller maps. And we have still our aristocracy coming on. And we're getting our stone cutting, our quarries online in the capital. I kind of like this as well. We're not yet doing the training yet, because I suspect if he's going to build another settler or maybe another worker after this, the thinking here is very likely, well, I don't need the training from this just yet. The resources obviously are useful, but maybe he's thinking stone, stone, stone first, maybe get an early wonder. So let's take a look at the wonders. We have the Pyramid, Ziggurat, Oracle, Jirwan, Necropolis, Lighthouse, Apadana, Jebel, Mausoleum, always a really nice grab on Greece, Acropolis, Colossus, Hagia Sophia, and then the good old-fashioned Colosseum. So my favorite combination, Greece, Mausoleum, and Colosseum, is all in the game. You combo those three things together, and I mean, you'll have... It kind of requires building your whole game around it. So it's very risky, I think, in this kind of dual format. But if you basically just rush yourself to strong and by turn 30 with Greece, which you can do, and then you build this with a builder, build the Mausoleum with a builder, you'll definitely have the Colosseum by like turn 50 or 60. Which is pretty nuts. But in a dual format, you just need to not get killed in 50 turns, which is not always possible. Lots of games we've seen people dying between turn 30 and 60, for sure. So it's a very risky strategy on a smaller map. I'll be curious if we see somebody try to do it, though, because I feel like I'm not going to try and do it, because I've talked about it enough that I think people would try to prevent me from rushing the Colosseum. But it would be nice to see if someone attempts to do it. I think Bull Moose was going to try and do it in his very first game, but that one ended up being a knife fight from hell. All right, making our way towards clearing more camps as Rome, taking the militia in tow, which I appreciate. The militia must have come from an event, which is nice, so that barbarian that was attacking this city must have spawned militia. So that's pretty convenient. Nice, good event. Do we have heirs yet? We have a wife. We have a zealot wife. And we have, let's take a look. No wife in Greece yet. But the Gauls are super friendly with the Greeks. So that'll be nice. If we hang tight on clearing these camps, the first raids could all head in the direction of Rome, which would be neat. Rome pretending to be Egypt with that stockpile. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Looks like they got the stone boost and are just sitting on it. Again, just to double check on the wonders here. The pyramids are in the game, so I suspect somebody's probably going to try and go for that. And between the two of them... Well, actually, no, they have the arid tiles in Greece. So basically, anybody could grab the pyramids once they have enough stone. Still a decent stockpile on Greece as well. That's probably the idea behind these early quarries. I have 240 stone, get more stone income, and shoot for those pyramids. My tiles are right here. And in the case of Rome, we already have 400 stone, and we're doing some purchasing in this direction. Be curious to see if he purchases more to get an arid tile for the capital. Making some progress on this camp. No progress down here, so much more clearing tempo on Greece here. This camp's cleared and settled, which makes sense. You have that free settler. And then this camp is being cleared and will be settled on this turn. So we're going to have 4 cities on Fonder to just 2 for Blaj. Huge momentum boost there. And that's really especially nice for Greece because, again, of this latent culture boost. We actually have a second artisan settle, so that's going to get this developing very quickly, just 13 turns. I'll be curious what the choice up here is to settle. I suspect would probably see... Well, patrons would make sense because of this, but I was going to guess champions. Yeah, and he went champions. Great. Awesome. And I think champions is the correct play here because it's out in the open. You want another military unit. I can't believe he's building a worker, man. This is blowing my mind. I'm seeing this in some games where it's 15 turns and not a single second military unit is in any of these build queues. So this is what I'm talking about. If somebody just took a hero into this map right now, pick a side. It wouldn't matter if it was Fondor or Blaj. If either one of these just went full military production with a hero, zealot, tactician, or shit, even a commander in tow, I feel like the other opponent would have a serious problem, because the clear time, one thing that's also not factored in enough, I think, is clear times on heroes, tacticians, and zealots especially are just so fast. We have Zoroastrianism coming up on Greece. Going to be coming in at about turn 19. Pretty decent rate there. So we're definitely leaning into this economic development. But really, Greece can afford a little bit of greed here, I think, with these build queues. Especially because if he has to now, it's not ideal, but if he has to, in the event of emergency, we have some civic stockpiled. We have a couple of developing cities already. So rushing as a defensive mechanism is on the table, which is always nice for Greece. We have another settler coming out, so we're getting our third city now for Rome. Fondor is a pretty good opponent. One of my favorite multiplayer matches I've ever played was against Fondor, and that's actually up on the Mohawk channel from about 10-ish months ago, give or take, if you ever want to check that out. It was a two-parter. I think the game itself lasted about 3 hours long, Fondor and myself, and yeah, we just went at it, and it was a really, really good game. So, and that was also a casted, spectated game by Fluffy and Kitten. A lot of fun. Let's see what we have here. We're getting our Odeon out, getting one Odeon, getting a Shrine of Poseidon, 2 shrines in the capital. Yeah, still a worker up here. We're getting a labor force. They're moving at a pretty good pace. So I'm just kind of whipping back and forth between them, trying to get a sense of what's happening. 300 opinion. We're in love. So we have a Gaulish wife. The queen of the Gauls is our lover. And our baby is a Gaul heir as well. So wow, this is just incredible. We could see a very quick and early tribal alliance for the Greeks, which would just be delightful to see. If you have yourself over 200 opinion, most of the tribal alliance events, are gated by needing a diplomat, or I think in some cases might actually even be disabled in competitive mode. But I believe there's at least one that remains that if you have over 200 opinion, it will still trigger. Because, I mean, well, shit, if you have over 200 opinion with a tribe, then maybe you deserve a nice reward for your efforts. But this is really cool to see. So what else do we have going on? We'll get our acolytes next turn. We have 36 science in Greece already compared to 29 in Rome. So we're going to get another science jump. We're now at 40 on turn 18 for the Greeks compared to 29. We've taken a 10 to 11 science lead on the Greeks. Nice economic development there. And now we're starting on a warrior in the capital, which is nice to see. High time we get a second military unit. But the nice thing here, too, right, is Fondor is doing the correct thing. His scout is knee-deep in Roman territory. He can see what's happening. He's been following the military. He knows where his opponent has cleared. So Fondor would be able to react if this situation was different and there was like a hero running around and 3 or 4 warriors. I suspect Fondor would not be building like a festival in Pergamon right now, as an example, if he was aware of that level of situation. So that's the value of scouting. You can always check on your opponent and see what they're up to. We have a Roman scout looking at Greece. Let's take a look at the full exploration of each nation. So for Greece, we kind of went straight across the center of the map and have now looked at the starting region and where our scout is parked about right here. And for the Romans, let's see how they chose to do it. They went off around the north, went in a little bit, and now they're similarly parked kind of out here, checking things out. So they have no eyes on the southern site, its clearing or its settlement. but they will know that Greece has 4 cities to their 3, of course. Rome is already 5 turns away from forestry, so they're keeping that beeline up, going still marked on land consolidation, and especially now seeing the map, again, there's a grove here. I'll turn on that filter real quickly. I won't keep it on, but the grove here, 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 over here, and I think that's it. Oh, and 2 more down here, right? So 2, 4, 6, 7. Yes, 7 in the region, which is more than enough, in my opinion, to make land consolidation pay for itself. I think I'll go. I might spring for land consolidation if I see about 5 or 6 groves in a region, especially if they're clumped up and they're easy for me to get, and especially if I have a landowner's family, which we do. I might have settled this landowners as well, just for the groves in the region, but we can always put a landowners down here. And the reason why I like landowners for groves is because it makes the gardeners quicker to come out once you're ready to start throwing them in the grove improvements. So it basically gets, it's actually, one thing I think it is basically is a land consolidation play in a high grove density region, in my mind, effectively transforms landowners into a science family. It's one of the ways that they are flexible in filling different roles. Similarly, if, assuming you've already settled your champ seat, or maybe you don't even have champions, right? Landowner is next to 2 iron that you find out on the map. Well, that's going to get both iron online and both miners online in twice the time, right? So they can sub in as a military family in that case. A really flexible family. Another reason why I like them so much. All right, let's see where Greece is in the tech tree now. We're humming along. We have a drama. We have aristocracy. We're getting administration now, while monasticism, husbandry, and what else? A bonus card, I guess? Border boost. We're skipping border boost. Okay. Deciding that we don't need it, I suppose, which, hey, not the end of the world. Don't always have to grab border boost. And yes, we have our Zoroastrianism now. Political situation. Greece is fine, and of course it would be pretty early on. Rome, however, is actually having a bit of an upset here because one of the things we did our fewest city thing. Landowners don't like having few cities. So that's another one of the reasons why if I settle landowners, I often do double landowners, just to prevent that from ever being an issue right at the start of the game. There's got to be something else going on with these guys. Okay, we seized something from their estate as well. These are just not the people you want to piss off, in my opinion. But that's fine. We're building a warrior here. Love to see it. This guy's really weak. Gonna have to heal him up. But we have another warrior, so we built 2 warriors right out of the way, right out of the gate. That's a really nice thing about Rome, is that all of their cities can be military cities, which is really awesome. Very strong ability that they have with the ability to make units everywhere pretty easily. Our wife has become the head of the Zoroastrian faith. So that's nice. Not bad. We're getting rhetoric now, so I'm suspecting a 4-law push here. So we don't have sovereignty marked, but I suspect we're getting rhetoric instead of navigation, which I find interesting. I don't really like that, but I guess we're probably going to do sovereignty for the 400 civics. And we'll have 3 laws adopted by the time that civic boost comes out. Give or take. At least 3. And the other religion. So this is nice. We have 2 different holy cities in 2 different artisan cities. One of the weaknesses of artisans is that they're not a civics family, right? So you get all the culture you want, but they don't come with a latent civics boost. So this is actually really convenient that the 2 Greek artisan cities both got the additional culture and additional civics from being holy cities. That's pretty awesome. We've lost a militia. How embarrassing. I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with them. But yeah, no, we have our warriors coming up to deal with this. Probably just going to heal up here. What's this for? Growth? So he's doing heavy economic development here. So he's doing a festival to get this growth online. He's going to put another poet. He did 2 acolytes, poet, so, and then he'll do a poet. He has a 3rd acolyte over here. I'll be curious what the 3rd family will be. I suspect a delayed sages settle would be my guess. That's always a fun little trick you can do with the Sage's Nation. You hang back on settling your Sage seat and try and get a better, deeper technology in the tree. And we have pyramids in the game. It was secured by Rome with their stone stockpile. So that's a really, really nice grab for Rome. They still don't even have any laws, so at the very least, when they start bringing the laws in, they'll have a much easier time catching up to Greece, which is quite nice. This is exactly what Rome would love to see in this moment, considering the pace of laws that Greece is already going to have. Okay, Rome wants to switch to tight. Not a bad time, not a bad thing. And the one bummer thing about the pace of Greece's law is, yeah, trying to bring any elephants into the game is really going to not work out well. I still think groves are nice to grab for the science, but basically your whole opener is coming in here for a science boost. And when you have someone who has such a spear-heavy composition, even the bonus chariot or like the... I mean, let's not forget, actually, everybody talks about law rushes. We should talk about this more. Everyone talks about law rushes because a 4 law rush is a 6 strength unit, right? The elephant is a 6 strength unit. So, I mean, if you see something like elephants around, in theory, ideally, if you're not against Greece of all frickin' nations, there's no real reason why instead of doing a 4 law push, you couldn't just beeline land consolidation for your 6 strength unit. So I don't hate this as a strategy, I just think it's not going to pay off well if he's really thinking elephants. But he's probably just thinking groves, which is still fine. Alright, we've cleared this site, and... Ho, 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 ho! Wow! Alright. Fascinating. I am tickled. We have an all-econ Rome game. No champions. Bold. I love it, personally. It's bold. But I mean, you do have that training boost in all your cities, so I suppose if any nation is going to cut out a military family, it could be Rome. But that's fascinating. Passing up champions is, especially when you're against a champion nation, is a surprising thing. And we already know there's iron in the capital, so you could be going off of the idea that maybe your opponent settled champions, which of course Greece did. So that is fascinating. It's always a tough decision to go between ziggurat and pyramids. That's always a tough call. I agree. I'm never sure what the right one is. I lean towards pyramids between the two, but of course the economic benefits of the ziggurat are quite nice. And if you do the math on them, they actually kind of, depending on how long, honestly it depends on how long the game you think is going to go. Shorter games I think would benefit the pyramids. So, and since these duels tend to be shorter games, then it's probably the pyramids is the answer to that. But if the game goes longer, I think the ziggurat starts to outshine the pyramids more than people probably think. That extra order is nice, though, on the pyramids. There's always that to consider. We're running a council here. Why are we running a council here? We could be doing a miner, or another acolyte, or another unit. Maybe we want money because we can't afford another unit right now. Huh. Forum as well, heavy economic, another forum as well, heavy on the economic development. Yeah. So let's look at the power graph right now. I'm curious about something. Yes, 80, 80. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to mention something in about 10 turns. Headed over to Rome now. Oh, what do we have? We can adopt laws. All right, so I suspect... Honestly, this is a tough call. Well, we don't need epics or exploration, but slavery, freedom, centralization, this is such a wonderful decision to have to make. All of these are fantastic first laws. On a smaller map like this, when we're already mostly expanded as Greece, do we have a settler coming already? No, we don't, but we already have 4 cities. Slavery is quite attractive. I don't think we need freedom as much. And then, but then also with Greece, our culture level is climbing quite high. You know, we have developed in this capital already, so centralization is attractive as well. But probably, I would probably go... Our science has gotten high, so I'd go for slavery here, I think, if it were me. Let's take a peek at Rome, see what we're doing. Wow, I think Blaj already took his turn. Fascinating. That was fast. Good for him. This is funny. That's funny to me. Chat saying this place has very few good quarry spots. And what are you talking about? There's a great quarry spot right here. Arid tiles, my friend. But yeah, no, not point. There's a great quarry spot down here. Arid, arid, arid. Just quarry, 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 quarry. But yeah, no, you're not wrong. I am not wary of the flatland quarry. I see quarry spots everywhere. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I really hate the name of that law, to be totally honest. But, you know, it is what it is, I suppose. You think that's bad, you should see the Discord discussions about it. You could cherry pick out of context statements constantly. Alright, so, back to Blaj here. Let's see, we have 3 military units. So we have 3 warriors in Rome compared to 2 in Greece. So just 1 leg up there. And we're going to be starting ready to clear this camp down here. Rome is at war with the Gauls, so they will be able to expand further. I'll be curious to see if Fonder decides to maintain the peace, because one thing that he's going to have an issue with now, since Fonder chose to marry a tribal wife, if he tries to declare war on the Gauls, he's going to have to imprison his wife, which is a really nice trade-off, I think. That was an event that was introduced in Behind the Throne, and I really like that, because I think there's value in taking a tribal wife in certain circumstances, or spouse in general. But it's nice to see some of the political consequences of that being added in. I'll be curious to see if he tries to wait out a lucky alliance. I disagree. I think flat arid is squarely in the good category, not good enough. That's a full disagree from me. I will spam flatland quarries, arid tiles with... Look at this. Where is it? Let me see. Here, let me... Yeah. Arid is 20%. One single mountain tile is, yes, double. I know it's like 40% rather than 20%, but it's easier to get like, basically what it is when you're along a mountain tile, a mountain range, right? This tile right here is 40%. So this is 80, and that's 80. But you're only going to have these 3 tiles to work with. Even if it's a long mountain range, right? You're still just going to have, you know, whatever tiles snake along that mountain range. As opposed to a vast field of arid tiles, it's 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, everywhere. You don't run out of room across a vast land of arid tiles. There's no, oh, only my quarries can go in this location. You literally just keep spamming quarries. So I disagree. I think a nice flatland arid plain is squarely in the good category for especially along a river. because then you get hydraulics, you put mills there, and everything becomes amazing. But that's just me. 5 turns left. No, 6 turns left on the pyramids. Free archer coming out, so we have forestry. And that should cycle the deck. Pretty high chance, but a 60-80% chance we'll get land consolidation on the next draw, which is nice. And we're going for a Zoroastrian Disciple, so yeah, this is the type of thing. Are we on turn 30 yet? No, I'll go over that in a second. So very economic development in Greece. Worker, settler, stonecutter. In Rome, it's going to be the second stone cutter in the state seat. So this is going to be doing really nice decrees for extra order when they want it, which is nice to see. Building another Odeon in the champ seat. Not a bad choice for that. That's not the champ seat, but a second champ spot, because he's going to want more than one location that can bring out his unique unit. Let's look at his tech status on that. Patrons courtier check, sure. Rome has the patrons, so let's take a pop over there and look at the court. So, oh, we have the Seer Diphobe. Great. This is a really nice grab. I'm going to double check. And then we have, this is our courtier. We got a builder with 3 discipline, 2 charisma. So not great, but not terrible. A builder's always solid. Have we slotted them in yet? No, we haven't. The Seer Diphobe is fantastic, and naturally we popped. Oh no, we need to pop her in a capital somewhere. She's an automatic 4 science, which is great. Although she's already ill, so we're gonna have to wait on that. I'm curious. I do want to peek. We're clearing this camp now here as Rome. I do want to peek at Greece and see if they got Diphobie. No, they did not. Just because sometimes the same characters show up on either side. So that's a nice grab. We now have 37 science in Rome to what is probably over 40 for Greece. 43 for Greece, yep. So that courtier... There are no camels as far as I'm aware. Yeah, chat's asking if there are any camels on the map, and no, there are no camels on the map. 10 turns now away from land consolidation, so that's going to be about turn 37 or sooner. And that'll give us a nice science boon. I'd like to see another landowners here. We definitely need it politically speaking. We still have that negative opinion. So that'll be nice to see. And then that'll give us quick access to more groves, more gardeners. And since that settler is coming from the capital, we'll actually have the 2 citizens right away to build 2 groves and put 2 gardeners in there right away. That's going to be a nice science boost there. Getting an Odeon. We have our disciple. We're building a farmer in this city down here and getting more quarries online, which is nice. Greece could use some food, building a farm, which is nice to see. An Odeon in every city. All right, interesting. Fascinating. Husbandry now on Greece. Wow, really interesting. Our 4th, we don't have the civics for it yet, but navigation is on the docket, and we're opting for husbandry, so we're prioritizing that food, prioritizing those pigs, the horse here, and that's it, really. So that fascinates me, that we're not grabbing navigation now while it's available. All right, on to Rome, back to Blaj. Ooh, it looks like we had some disruption in court because this land consolidation timer has just gone down. Oh, Diphobie died, that's why. Diphobie. Economy in Rome's pretty solid. Do we have slavery? Yeah, we don't even have slavery and it's pretty solid. I'll be curious, what do we adopt as Greece? We adopted freedom. Interesting. I don't feel like I would have done freedom. wildly enough. I feel like if you have a builder on the throne, or if you're Greece, or maybe even if you're Babylon, I feel like freedom's less attractive. Although stacking freedom with Babylon is pretty gross too. So you can make a case for both both situations. More groves in the center of the map. 2 groves right here. And that's it for groves. So in total, there are 9 groves on the map. If you secure your whole side and then take the center spot. Actually, I think this is the 10th. This would be the 10th grove, and then this would be an 11th grove right there. That's cool. Interesting. Getting a master poet. So we're just heavy. I do like to see this in terms of the development here. I would love to see more military units. So maybe a military unit coming out of here, or one coming out of here, because you need to be able to defend yourself from an attack. Yeah. Yeah, you need to be able to defend yourself from an attack. However, while you're doing that, there's nothing wrong with taking one build queue and just building specialists, build a festival to increase your citizen count, then build another specialist, because this will help you long-term economically, science-wise. We're now at a science rate of 50 for Greece. And yes, someone's mentioning the fact that olives can give you a science boost if you harvest them. It's not a guarantee, but it's a chance. The 4 resources that give a harvest boost, or a science boost when you harvest them, are olives, fish, elephants themselves, by the way. People talk about the fact that elephants can give the mythological 6-strength elephant unit by surprise, which is true, but it's a very rare event. But you also actually can get about 80 science or so from the elephant, and then iron itself, if you harvest that. Those 4 resources will lead to a science boost if you get lucky with the event. There are other nice effects from science events. There are nice culture boosts. Harvesting wheat, I believe, gives you a really big food boost. Camels as well, I think, gives you a choice between a big food boost and a big iron boost. All of these things can come in handy, especially early in the game. If you get an extra, 200 food because you harvested, wheat, that's essentially 2 extra settlers that you can build right away, or a bunch of specialists. So that's not bad at all. What else do I know? Everyone knows about the swift horsemen for riders. Sheep and or goats can get you an heir that you can adopt, which can be neat, or it can give you just goats in the city itself. There's a whole bunch of them, and they're all fun. Yes, then that's the whole trick. I've actually brought this up to Mohawk recently, but silver and goats seem to be the only events that have negative outcomes. And given the positive effects of all of the harvest events, I actually think those should be changed, because while we might decide, oh, I want to focus on olives or elephants or whatever because I want to get that special bonus, I don't think we should be avoiding resources because we know that they're going to do bad things. So I think Mohawk should take a look at those 2 in particular, and dump the negative effects and just have them all do positive stuff. All right, so we're over in Greece building another settler. 5 turns on that till we can settle. I really like this, by the way. I've seen lots of players in this tournament camping their tribal sites. You don't need to do that. You only need to do that if the settler that you're going to send there won't make it in time. So we have a 5-turn settler coming out. We know our opponent is on the other side of the map, so it's not like it's a single-player game where we have to worry about this more. No reason to just bring the unit back. Now, of course, there are schemers on the map, so let's take a look. So, Rome could decide to be a jerk, and yes, I think we lost a unit down here. It does look like we lost a unit, so that's unfortunate. Yes, we lost a warrior. How embarrassing. I'm still kidding. No, but that sucks. Really, honestly, if you can try while you're clearing, especially in this tight head-to-head format. Really don't want to be losing military units to tribes, barbarian camps, anything like that. So try to back off if you can. And a neat trick I'll tell people, the scout isn't in the region and it's a schemer, so you can't do it. But if you're not a schemer and you have a scout in the region, as long as you give the tribal unit something to attack, it won't heal up. So let's say this were the only unit in the region and Rome wanted to clear this site and they had to back off and heal. You could take your scout, move it here, again, as long as you're not a schemer, because it won't work if the scout is invisible. Back the hero off, and then the wounded camp will fire on your scout, give you a couple of turns to heal up, and then come back in, and the damage will still be there. So you can always do that with a scout. Tiny little micro tricks. All right, we have a new landowner's family, 8 turns on land consolidation. Okay, so it's turn 30, and I want to do a power check on something. All right. We have 130 power on Rome and 110 power on Greece. And the reason why I'm looking at this, so if you're with us live right now or you're watching on YouTube, there's one quick thing I want to focus on. 130 on Rome, 110 on Greece. The reason why I'm bringing that up is because we've been seeing a lot of focus on science rates, tech rates, law pacing in this game, but not enough conversation, in my opinion, about power graphs. And going back to what I was talking about earlier about having something like a Roman zealot or hero on the map and going full bore into military production, trying to take out your opponent early, right? While all of these guys are building all these workers and the specialists, it is entirely possible. It's turn 30 right now. It is entirely possible to have over 300 power scale, military score by turn 30. So both players in this current duel have only just over 100. So you could be much stronger than either of these opponents right now in this game just by focusing on military. So that's one of the things that I find interesting about some of the meta developments where, certain players are going very development heavy, very greed focused, building lots of workers, building lots of specialists, building lots of projects even, right? I've seen one game where a player built a bunch of treasuries. And it can work. It's not. I'm not saying it's a bad strategy. I'm just saying one of the risks associated with that is if your opponent is 3 times as stronger than you as turn 30 and you can't defend yourself and the arena is this small, you could be dead on turn 35. But the risk for the rusher, because I've actually lost a game like this to an opponent who I don't want to say it's unskilled, but had less experience than I did, is I actually was Rome, and I sent nothing but warriors and slingers across the map, and I actually failed the rush, and then I just lost because I fell way too far behind. They ended up getting onagers before I had, axes or whatever. So, I mean, that's the other risky thing about going hard into military and trying to kill your opponent too soon, is that you can fail and then fall behind. But just interesting things to think about the way the games compare now. 1 turn on the pyramids here. And yeah, Rome building more units. A warrior up here, a warrior up there, compared to only 1 warrior in the queue. I want to actually do a quick recap on that now. Military units produced, 2 on Rome, 1 on Fonder. So there's 1 more coming out for Greece and 2 more coming out for Rome. So Rome is keeping up in military production, but yes, they have lost both a warrior and their starting militia. And well, no, not the starting militia. They got a militia off an event. So that does suck for Rome. That's one of the reasons why you definitely, yeah, sure, we can see the orders as well. Orders, huge boost for Rome here. A lot of this is probably worker turns though, so I'm going to have to do an actual comparison. We have 14 coming in for Rome with 5 spent on workers, and we have 4 coming in on Greece with 6 spent on workers. So I'm going to have a guess here, and I'm going to say that FonderCargo has used the schemer order purchasing ability 5 times already. Take a quick peek over here at Rome. and they have used it none. So the legitimacy is higher on Rome right now to the tune of about 10 or more. 79 legitimacy on Rome to 32 on Greece. Wow. Oh, because we've also had a death. We have had an early death of a ruler. That's going to hurt. That's going to sting a little bit. But we do have a second schemer on the throne. That's interesting. So we have an early death. That sucks. Let's take a look at the dynasty here for Greece. We have a sister who's witty, blessed, and a philosophy student, so that's some nice science that'll come in. We had a second... Oh, that's the big thing that sucks about the death, too. Look at this. Schemer, schemer, scholar, schemer. All of this wisdom is going to go down. So we're actually down to 28 science on Greece now from that early death. That's just a bummer. Really, really unfortunate for Greece. But hey, you know, that's the old world. That's life in the old world for you. Is mortality normal? Yes. It is. All right. We have a pasture in Rome with a rancher being built. And we have a... Yeah, so we will get Judaism on Rome. We're 2 turns away up here and 1 turn away up there. So, and we have the... We just need to get labor force. We're currently teching... Right, we're currently teching land consolidation, so we're going to have to come back to labor force. But it is possible that we'll get Judaism. Fondor is keeping eyes on the military movements of the Romans. Another warrior coming out. Looks like we swapped. I thought we had a warrior up in this build queue. We have a barracks being built, which is nice to see. Would love to see some barracks over here. Building a hamlet. Okay. Farms. Gold mine. Yeah. The economy is looking all right for Rome right now. 57 stone, 25 iron, 6 food, compared to negative food on Greece, 24 iron, and 28 stone. And neither player has slavery enacted, so that's just their raw economy. So Rome has a slightly better economy at the moment. Also got inspiring on the ruler at this point, and let's do an air check for him. His son is eloquent already, and 8 years old, not ready to be tutored. Getting phalanx on Greece already, turn 30-something, 32. So that'll get us a bonus unique unit shortly, and it will get us spears, which will be quite nice. What else are our options? Architecture, monasticism, metaphysics. Yeah, I think phalanx is the right decision here. Why not? And we have some raid pressure to deal with, right? From this camp right outside. Still really, really great opinion with the Gauls, though. Looks like our character also took over the throne. I missed if we got an opportunity to adopt a regent, but it doesn't look like we did if we did get that opportunity, so I find that interesting. Running council down here. And council right here. Wild. I wonder what's up with that. Okay. All right, back to Rome. Moving up. Nice, a critical hit. Probably take a time to come back and heal this guy up. Yeah, that's nice. That's the play right there. What are we getting here? We're getting a barracks here. That's nice. Really like to see the barracks being built in multiple cities here for Rome. Really good synergy for their extra training boost. And now the science rates have evened out. So let's take a look at the overall science investment 33 turns into the match. So we have a higher science rate for Rome now, 34 to 28. But Greece had put in 1,000 science, only about 100, just over 100 science lead over Rome in the tech tree. I really like having these totals here. I know it doesn't factor in things like certain bonuses, but still I think this is pretty sufficient to get a sense of where the players are in the tech tree. I like that. Really nice to see. Hopping back over to Greece. These guys are flying on their turns, which is quite nice. I think it's only been... How long has it been? Yeah, 33 turns in an hour. That's not too bad, I guess. I'll be curious what we choose to do with this. Maybe a mythology grab once we have the state religion. We're not spreading it, though, so I find that fascinating. The disciple, I mean, for Zoroastrianism. Fire in the market. Well, that's going to spread it. That's nice. We also have some civics boost. And the hurricane is ending. All right. Oh, no. We have a political crisis in Greece, though. Everybody is very angry. What's up with this? Discontent. Yep. Champions don't have enough military. What is happening? Our Greek paganism is pissed off, too. What do we have? A judge? Yep, we have a judge. Oh, that's awful. A judge is ruling the... And a proud judge. Oof. Woof. This is not a good situation for Greece. They are having political turmoil in the homeland. Let's see the political situation in Rome. Not great, but not terrible. So everything's even. Everyone's cautious. So things are stable in Rome, but we could start seeing rebels. And this kind of comes back. I don't want to harp on this too much, but this kind of comes back to the issue of, you know, making sure you have some military units being built or military units to spare. Because if you end up in a shitty political situation because of a secession crisis or something like that, well, you want to have military around to handle the problem quickly. Indeed, yes. Having a proud religious leader does make you wish for a spy master. We are one quarry away from finishing an ambition here for Rome. And we need to also discover 6 technologies, which should happen quite nicely once we're done with land consolidation. I'll be curious how this game pans out, to be honest, because I'm feeling comfortable with Rome's start. They have had some tactical setbacks, and I think this game will come down to tactics, so that could go in Fonder's favor. But Fonder is off to a bit of a rocky start here. Some of that's luck, but some of that is... Oh, we're getting an amphitheater already, but some of that is, I think, a product of... maybe a little bit of greed. I mean, he is well developed, but his economy is, I guess it's getting better now. Did we get freedom yet? No, we already had freedom. What are we getting next? Well, if we adopt one more law, then getting sovereignty and the civics boost will get us to 4. So I suspect if Fondor nails 4 law timing... Ooh. We got a science boost just now. Okay. Off an event. I'm not sure which event, but that's why the deck just cycled. So now we're getting military drill. Love to see that grab. Man, negative 300 on the champions, though, is a problem. That's a real big problem. There's so much. That's the drawback of the legitimacy, and we've still sent more orders. So we have legitimacy hit due to the secession, and we spent 12, and we've taken another 5 hit here in the events. So in total, we've lost... Negative 18. We've lost 18, and then we'll take another 5 legitimacy hit for not getting the full bonus of getting this ambition done. So that'll be 23 legitimacy short on... Oh, and then, of course, the death, which would have cut out another 20. So that's, we're basically 4 legitimacy behind right now. 40 legitimacy behind. Greece does have freedom enacted, so this is actually the best possible thing. Let's look at the rebels' chance. Rebel chance is still 15% in this city of their religious dissent. Oh my god, there's religious dissent. So the rebel chance in this city is 15%. That's with freedom, but everywhere else should be about 5. This is 10, this is 5, and that's also 10. So freedom is reducing it by 5%, but boy, it's just... we have our first rebel in Cyrene. Oh, because we also have a slum. We have a slum and religious dissent in this city. Plus a crappy political situation. So even without freedom, this would be a 20% chance for rebels in the city. But with freedom, it's 15. That's wild. Are we bringing in sages? We're bringing in sages. What do we get? What do we get? After all that, we got metaphysics. That's that's so funny. It's not a bad technology, but it's... I mean, you could have gotten architecture, you could have gotten steel, you could have gotten sovereignty, you could have gotten navigation, you could have gotten citizenship. Spoked wheel, even. I mean, it's definitely not bad to have archives lying around, but... of all the ones, I think that's such a troll thing to get when you found your sage's seat. That's such a Babylon thing to happen. Poor Greece. Oh well. They tried. That's funny. Getting the food boost now. Wow, food boost instead of sovereignty. I find that fascinating. I guess we're worried about some economy, I suppose. Yeah, I suppose getting closer to sovereignty right this second won't do too much for us if we're having such a political crisis. You cannot do synods, high synods or synods, however you say it. You cannot do the diplomatic ability of currying favor with the pagans. The pagans are a fickle bunch. You can assign clergy, though. You can assign pagan clergy, so a judge could help. Also, I mean, Greece is broke right now, but a judge would help because you could spam family gifts against the family as well, and that's a 40 opinion a pop. I think that's often overlooked. But it is a decent salve. If you do that 3 times, you get in 10 turns. It'll be over 100 opinion. Of course, it decays over 40 years, but it'll buy you time while you're trying to work out the situation. It's not the worst thing in the world. All right, we're making nice progress on this camp now. Technically, we're going to start taking more momentum from the map than our Greek friends as Rome. We have a new warrior out up here. Building a hamlet right here. Oh, that will be a nice border collapse, I guess. Don't really need that for the border collapse. You could just buy this tile and save the hamlet for elsewhere, but it is what it is, I suppose. Back over to Greece. Let's see if any new rebel friends have popped up. Thankfully, no. No new rebels. Just a few more turns away from securing our first ambition as Greece. It will be a legacy, but nice to have. We're getting a free hoplite. All right, that'll be handy, especially to deal with the rebels. And we should be running an influence when we get the chance. Maybe sell some food from that food boost we just got. Now there's a mutiny. Ugh. All sorts of issues in Greece. I love this Roman scout just chilling. Let's see what they can see. All right, so see, this I like, right? This is a great example. So I did laugh about metaphysic, which I still legitimately think is funny. But really, archives are fantastic. You know, this is going to be 2 turns. We get a 10 science boost, so that's effectively 5 science per turn. Not bad at all. And then you get 1 science per turn indefinitely after the fact. And since he has good civics production, he could just keep doing this. His next archive, Archive 2, would be 20 science in 3 turns. So that's, you know, what is that? That's like 6.3 science per turn. So basically, by doing Archive and then right into Archive 2, and then probably even into Archive 3, he'll effectively boost his science rate by 5 science per turn or more every turn until he's done building archives. That's not a bad use of that at all. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what we see happening over in Greece. 1 turn away from our land consolidation beeline. Pretty solid timing on that. I think if you beeline straight for land consolidation, you should be able to get it between turn 30 and turn 40. So, turn 38 is not too bad. Probably on the back end of that, but nice to see. And this camp should be coming down on this turn. We have a new raid coming in as well. So yeah, this is the situation. Because of the diplomatic situation, all of this center tribe, Greece will have to deal with this raid camp right here because it's too close to their border. But the remainder of the Gauls are all going to go east and fight Rome for as long as there's peace with Greece. All right, so that camp is cleared. He has another warrior out here to clear. Making some progress up here with this raid as well. And 1 settler on the way. Yeah, so pretty deep. Let's do a worker count. Workers produced 5. See, that's interesting. There's 5 on Rome, 4 for Greece. One of those workers is a disciple. So more workers in Rome right now. And more workers, more military units in Rome right now. He built 4. Obviously, 1 died. Yeah. Greece has also lost 1 unit. I believe they lost their militia, their free militia. So both have lost a militia, and Rome has lost a warrior. Popping back over to Greece now. Ping-ponging. Forum being finished. Archive going to be finished. Warrior coming up. Another warrior coming up. It's nice to see some catch up there. Getting a barracks in the champ seat, which is good. Getting these quarries online up in the sage seat, which is nice. The economy seems to have evened out. Opinion's still crap, but that will be nice. And yes, I know they have the artisan worker. I'm just talking about actual workers produced. These totals do not factor in the starting units, so like the military units. There's +1 here for both people because everybody starts with a military unit, things like that. Doesn't factor in the free militia for champions. It doesn't factor in bonus units. So when I go over those stats, I'm just going over what they're investing in for themselves in terms of build queue production. All right, so this is good. This camp is now fully cleared, and he can already see. He already has vision on these 2 units coming in. So this will be no surprise for him. He'll be able to just pivot right down here. He knows there's a camp right out here. He knows these 2 central camps are here. I think he's making decent progress. He's not rushing for the center of the map. He's developing himself, but he's also slowly creeping. And Fondor is still at truce. He actually seems to have lost. I don't think he ended up with peace, actually, now that I think of it. I think it was just really good opinion. So the alliance event actually might require peace first. So you could always get an ambassador on the throne, on the council, and then secure peace with these guys if you wanted to. In fact, securing peace would stop raids from this camp. So that could be worth it as well. But you're going to have to make a decision of if you actually want this territory or not. Which I think you do, to be honest. I think you do want that territory. All right. Getting an apprentice officer up here. I like this. I like using the statesman civics boost Two, I mean, they're not really getting a lot right now, but they still have pretty decent civics. And we're getting our groves online. First grove of the map. Potentially first grove of the tournament, to be honest. I'm not 100% sure. I can't recall many land consolidation grabs. I know we've seen people get up to manor, I think. But I don't know if we've actually seen a priority on groves yet. This is nice to see. And that's going to spike his science quite nicely soon. Building a settler here. That will free up our capital to spend build Q on something else. All right. Still trouble in Greece, but it doesn't look like any rebels. We have our bonus hoplite now. We're going right for composite bow afterwards. I like that. Really going to ramp up our military capabilities. Yeah, good point, maybe. Some of the longer games probably saw groves. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, mostly I meant about the beeline. I don't think we've seen anybody open and go straight for land consolidation yet. I mean, this is definitely a decent map for it. There could be better layouts for it, for sure. I think one time I started a map where there were like 6 groves this close together, like in this type of spot. But no, this certainly isn't a bad map for it at all, I don't think. Especially if you're running a landowner's nation, which Rome is. And I think of all the nations, Rome actually has the easiest time because they start with polis. So this isn't really necessarily the highest value tech to start with. But it does put you, Rome happens to have landowners. They start polis. So if anyone's going to pull off a land consolidation beeline and make something of it, it will definitely be Rome, I think. So this is a good map for them, or we're already going to get 2 more groves online right now. Love to see this. And yes, we want honey. We want olives as well. So we'll have good culture, good opinion in our families. No grapes. Oh, there's another grove right here. I missed this one. So that's like a 12th or 13th grove on the map. Yeah, so I think this is a pretty solid map to support an opening land consolidation play. And I'm really happy to see Blaj getting a read on that pretty early on. Again, we'll see if it actually pays off long term. But I definitely think Fondor is going to give him the breathing room to kind of stretch this out, which is good news for Blaj. Let's actually take a look at that power score too. So, as I said, it now turned 40, and both opponents have 200 power score. So, yeah, 210. In fact, they're dead even. They have exact same power level. Yes, it's dangerous. Land consolidation beeline is indeed dangerous, and kind of going back to what I said, it's both players on turn 40 have 210 military score, and it's entirely possible to have 300 military score back on turn 30. So it really just depends on the matchup, the map itself, the pick that your opponent picks. So like maybe you don't play greedy against a Rome pick because you know they can cross the map, or Hittites are another person. Very early quick chariots, they could cross the map very quickly. So that's probably a faction you need to be a little careful of. Maybe Assyria with their ballista and their archers, but the ballista is going to be slow, so there's that to consider. But, I mean, a map like this, a ballista is going to get across the map pretty easily. So, yeah, it really just depends, as with anything in Old World, right? But it's still cool to see. I like to see people trying out new things. Getting slingers now, which is nice. Always important to have ranged units. Not seeing enough ranged units on some players, I think. Pyramids are up, which is also quite nice. Getting our another... Oh, this is great. So let's already look at this. This is going to be 2, 4, 6, 8 new science coming on in the next 2 turns. Crazy, crazy. Really, really great grab. And we're already at 41 science per turn on Rome. To 40, exactly 41. 41.2 to 41.4. So in terms of power and science right there, dead even. Let's go back to orders right now as well. Huge order boost on Rome, and I think much of that's coming from their legitimacy here. We have 96 legitimacy to 59, so that's 4 order difference on Rome just from legitimacy. Nice to see. I hope we do another landowner's family right here. We can get another 2 groves right here. This should be landowners, and then you can pop champions out here. No, we don't have we don't have champions. Right, remember we went all econ Greece. So yeah, mostly I say you settle this as landowners, and then you should be solid on your landowners settles. Maybe 1 more statesman, 1 more patrons? Question mark? Greece has eyes on this site, still with a hidden schemer. We have an eloquent schemer on Greece now. That's nice. Oh, cool. And the Roman ruler got strict, so the warriors he's building are coming out with 50 XP. That's not too bad. Getting a miner in the capital in Rome as well, by the way. Do we have a miner in the capital in Pella yet? No. But we have that mine up. Worker in the sage seat. Somebody's trying to get pregnant. Great. I love the image. I never noticed the image for that event. I mean, I've seen that one before. I didn't realize that was the image for the trying to get pregnant event. That's kind of funny. 7 turns on comp bow. Speaking of ballistas, that could be a problem for Rome if Rome doesn't have an answer for a ballista. However, oh, this is awesome! Speaking of the land consolidation beeline, what could answer a ballista? A free horseman. Really hope Rome decides to grab this free horseman when it shops up, because the timing of this composite bow and a potential ballista hitting the scene would actually be nice. I mean, you're still dealing with grease and spears and hoplites and everything that's terrible, so it's probably not going to help too much. But again, if not dealing with grease, I think maybe a quick land consolidation grab could be an interesting, quirky way to flip Assyria the bird if they try to ballista rush you and you're Rome. Maybe. Okay. Let's see here. We're getting a garrison. Good. Right next to the barracks. We'll get some order boost there. Definitely need more orders on Greece. Greece always has an order problem, though. Let's not forget there's 2 statesmen families, cities in Rome as well. That's contributing. So there's currently, between legitimacy and statesman, there's currently a 6 order advantage on Rome. Greece has a real issue with early order economy, which is one of the reasons why I'm surprised they've passed up navigation more than once. They had an opportunity to get navigation quite early in the game, and they've passed over it at least twice, I think. And if you're Greece, I really think you want to get early navigation. It's always good. It's very high priority early tech, but I think it's especially nice for Greece because Greece doesn't have any inherent order boosts. Except for the King Shrine, which synergizes off of Wonders, and that's a pretty expensive order. Landowners? Landowners. Landowners? Yes. Nice to see it. Good job, Blaj. 2 more groves in this region, and when we put another a gardener here, it's going to pop to this grove. So we're going to get quick groves everywhere, quick gardeners everywhere, and our science, this is going to easily get to about 70 science or more just off of these groves. Oh, that's a good point. So since we have 2 schemers on the throne, we have... Well, actually, I don't know if Greece didn't declare war. They didn't, yeah. So Greece never declared war on Gauls when they met them. Because you can still get a tribal wife offer and end up in a friendly situation without doing that. So that's another half an order there that went to Rome. I suspect, let's take a look. Yep, unafraid of tribes. That makes sense. And, ooh, this is interesting. We got, we got the mysterious sword, and we just put it up for display. So that's another order right there, just those two things. And then, of course, by being at war with the Gauls and with Greece, well, just the Gauls, because they're both at war with each other, Rome is going to get an extra order. So basically, yeah, there's about a 10 order advantage in Rome right now. Easily. Not even including whatever's happening with the workers. All right, but it does look like the time of peace with the Gauls has ended, and Greece is now opting to expand their influence across the map. Do we have a settler? We have a 6-turn settler coming up. Still crappy relationships, but a little bit better. Negative 100. 100. And, yeah, we're going to have to send somebody to deal with this travel unit, unfortunately. Getting our Elder Poet up and running. Really nice science here. 13 science in this one city. I'm pretty sure 16 science in Roma. Wow. Love it. And now 21 science in Roma. This is it. I love it. And we're going to put 2 groves, 2 gardeners, 5-turn gardeners. I hope he actually unslots this net specialist and opts to do the gardener instead. That would absolutely be the play there. You don't need the extra culture or money. All right, so we're now at 60 science per turn for Greece to 43. And don't forget, just like 5 or so turns ago, both players were right around at 42, 43 science. So in just a few turns from that land consolidation grab and leveraging the land around you, we see about a 20 science jump. I'm sure other things have happened too, but that's a big contributor. So really liking this performance here from Blaj. We'll see if it pays off. We're getting labor force now. We're fully expanded. I suspect we will not see freedom on Rome in this game, and he will go straight to slavery. We are strong in the capital on Roma already. This is awesome. This is fascinating. The landowner's Rome has hit strong faster than the Greek capital, which has an acolyte in it, has a religion in it. We don't even have a religion in Rome yet. That could be something that comes back to bite us eventually, but this labor force will give us Judaism, and with no paganism, it should spread to our families pretty quickly. Another rebel. Ugh, a spear. This is dreadful. Okay, so, and another rebel. So, crisis in Greece. Fondor has a political crisis, and it's really weighing on him. A ruthless, proud, power-hungry judge. Nothing you can do about it. I think maybe grabbing Spoked Wheel here might have made sense, because you could have grabbed Spoked Wheel. You could have assigned her as the Chancellor, and that would have eased some of this opinion. Don't forget that, you know, it might seem like you can't handle this character, but you can always try to play to their role and get them a seat on the council. So maybe you can't get a spy master to assassinate her, but you could get Spoked Wheel to give her a job. Yuck. Alright, so both players have fully cleared their side of the map, but Rome has settled theirs quicker. This is an interesting matchup. I don't know that we've seen Rome versus Greece in the tournament just yet. We've seen quite a few Greece and Rome picks, but I don't know that they've actually gone against each other. So that's fun to see. We have a free settler coming up if we want it. We have one more coming out. So there's 2 sites on the map. It might actually not make be a bad choice to just save us a build queue now that we have the science and just grab that real quick. And then all of our settler needs would be done. Yep, then we're doing it. So in one turn, we'll have 2 more settlers with 2 more sites we could clear at some point. And we never need to spend another 5 or more turns of build queue bringing out a settler. I like that choice. So I suspect Rome might be in the... because of this rebel situation that Greece is dealing with, I think Rome is going to be primed to take the center. Maybe not both sites, but certainly one of them. We have salt up and running as well. Where did we get salt from? We did salt up here. Okay. We're getting a gardener. We're already going on our gardeners. Yeah, we're going to zoom up to 100 science by turn 50, I suspect. We have a law ready to go. I suspect that will be slavery soon. Would be curious to see the pick there. Political situation is starting to decline in Rome. But next turn we should be getting Judaism. And hopefully we'll get a nice character in charge of that. Let's see what is happening in Greece now. A 3rd rebel in this city. This is still a massive... it's still a 15% chance. He needs to clear this descent. Honestly, he needs to move this guy off of the slum so the slum can get pillaged. Oh no, 3 more turns and it will turn into a hamlet. Alright, so that's fine. So in 3 turns, we'll lose 5% rebel chance. I would take a second here to clear the descent. We don't have a governor, though, so we can't. Yeah. Can Rome see this nonsense? No. Rome can see damage here. So if he could move himself over a little bit, I'd take a peek at the trouble in Greece. Really, really slows you down, though, if you have an early rebel crisis. We've seen this in other games as well. An early political crisis in the Empire is just a big blow to... can be, anyway. It can be a big blow to momentum. We adopted Zoroastrianism as a state religion, so opting to make the pagans even more angry. Even the Zoros don't like us that much. But that's a result of the war with the Gauls. Once the Gauls are dead, that will die down, I guess. Building more slingers in the capital. Like to see that. Probably going for a mass archer upgrade. That's what I'm guessing, considering the chopping of all these woods. Stockpiling some wood, and we're spamming slingers in the capital with composite on the way shortly. So we're going to have a nice, sizable upgrade into archers, which will be good to see. Alright, we have divination, spoked wheel, phalanx, and architecture all as options. All pretty decent options. Still no law adopted. We did not elect to adopt a law. I'm curious if we'd be maybe eyeballing other wonders. We do have the mausoleum as an option. A mausoleum in the capital would certainly be an interesting get for Rome. And help careen him to legendary. How far away are we? 65 turns? Yeah, the mausoleum would at least chop that in half. Going for divination in the tech tree. And we have plenty of movement to start waging our relentless war against the Gauls. Honestly, with this raid coming in, he could just send 2 units up here to try and clear this camp, while the rest clear out the raid. It's a weird little thing that a raid actually makes it easier to clear the nearby camp because the camp empties of units. Alright. Let's see if he decides to go straight for the camp. Or if he opts to clear all these units. Let's see his heir. His heir is an eloquent, ruthless scholar. So opting to stick on the science path. Should be able to kill one of these units. Nice. Oh, it looks like we're not fully connected yet because we haven't explored around this coast. That's a bit unfortunate. And we're building a camp up here. Getting elephants online. So we will actually have the ability to produce elephants once this camp is finished. I'll be curious if we see any Stompy boys in the match. Alright, back to Greece. Resolving our crisis. Moving our slingers up. Let's take a look at national wealth here for a second. Rome is currently 3 times wealthier than Greece. Just about. 10 specialists in Rome compared to 7 on Fonder, Greece. 5 workers produced by both. 6 military units produced by Fonder, so he has caught up. That's nice to see. 15 technologies researched by Fonder compared to 10 by Blaj, but that's going to, I feel like Blaj will leapfrog him now that he's done with his beeline. A lot of his technologies. And both players have exactly 38 improvements. That's neat to see. Yeah, with Blaj being finished with the land consolidation beeline, he'll probably start doing most of his technologies in about 2 to 3 turns for a little bit. Another slinger from a champ city up north. So I suspect we'll see about 6 archers soon. 6 archers is very deadly. Certainly something to worry about. And headed back over to Rome. And we have the death of the ruler in Rome. Our scholar has taken the throne. Eloquent, which is actually a nice combination with the landowners, especially as we're trying to get our gardeners online. And we have a zealot heir, which is perfect. 8 courage on our zealot heir, so we'll be able to use a very strong general in the wars to come. That is just fantastic. 8 courage. Amazing. Building more warriors. Pretty much the majority of our military composition at this point is warriors, which could prove to be a very big problem if Fondor comes at us with archers. You know, a bunch of archers coming at warriors is not a good time. I mean, thankfully we have some nice forests to hide in. But it can be tricky to deal with if we get a couple of archers up all in these woods and in these hills, and they're firing on the city that we're about to found. One gardener will be finished next turn. Nice, we did swap away from this tile and opted to put the gardener on there. That was the correct play. Nice to see that. Not going straight for these rather than getting a worker. That's okay, I guess. And we opted for freedom. That fascinates me. I mean, our economy's fine, so I guess we don't, like, need slavery, but our economy would pretty much double. Would get 100% boost on iron and 50% on slavery. This law is so strong. Sorry, I'm not looking at Greece at the moment. Our rebel crisis has been resolved over in Greece. Comp bow in 2 turns now, along with 2 more slingers. 46 science, or science has climbed back up a little bit. Let's see what we have for this governor. Judge, decent. Can get us officers when we're ready. Real nice and quick and cheap. Council here is intriguing me. Well, we're doing it for the massive 40 civics per turn. Probably thinking about laws here, yeah. We'll probably go sovereignty or navigation next. And we'll get 40 civics per turn will get us the ability to adopt our laws quite nicely. I like that. That's a really nice civics rate. Like, break this down. We have eloquent from the Queen, 8 base, 2 from the Holy City, a more eloquent Shrine of Zeus. Yep. So even despite having minus 10% from the Anchorage family, this city's still pumping out 40 civics per turn. And this, it doesn't even have any marble. So that's pretty great. So that culture rate, that's one of the things that's really nice about artisans and Greece in general, in particular, but artisans in general. That culture rate really just balloons the potential of these traits like eloquent. Yeah, he's getting so much just from having an eloquent governor in a strong city. So that's really cool to see. All right, making our progress towards this central camp at Rome. Our units are a little bit worse for the wear, but no real big deal there. Still have a camp cleared. One more turn on a settler for that one camp. And I'll be curious to see... I mean, Greece has vision of the troops here. Be curious to see if Greece tries to contest the center a little bit. He has one more turn on composite bow. He can move his slingers up to this border, upgrade them all to archers, and then really provide intense pressure on this central site. We opted to get a theology. What did we do? We did myth... Oh, no. Oh, hey! You know what? This is really clever. I actually don't hate this. We have a political crisis. We've been dealing with this dumb rebels in this Zoroastrian city, so we just spent some civics, who cares, whatever, to get veneration, reduce the rebels' chance. Not a very popular pick, but it does exactly what you need it to do if you need it to do it. And so now our rebel chance in Cyrene is actually 5%, all coming from the Zoroastrian dissent, which we can remove. Because the slum is now upgraded to a hamlet. So if you just assigns a governor and gets rid of the dissent, there will be no more rebel chance in the city, and crisis in Cyrene is completely averted after all of those 3 rebel spawns. I actually don't hate this at all, so kudos to you, Fonder, for thinking of it and deciding to solve your rebel problem. Really, really love to see it. All right, it does look like Greece is moving forward to pressure up against Greece. Sorry, against Rome. And now we're back to Blaj. Hey, Magnus, thank you for the comment. I appreciate the feedback. I'm really grateful for everybody tuning in. Thank you all for joining me live while I'm walking through this game. It's been an immense pleasure and joy to be able to spend so much time watching these games. This tournament has been awesome. And it turns out watching Old World is just as much fun as playing it. And I've been having a lot of fun commenting. So I appreciate any and all positive feedback and encouragement. It certainly does help the motivation stay high. And of course, if you're watching this after the fact on YouTube, I appreciate you taking the time to watch here as well. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel or leave a comment. I read all of the comments on my channel, and when I get some time, I try to respond to them all too. I don't respond to them all, but I try. All right, so Rome is taking... So this is what's scary. if we're Greece and we can see this, can Greece see this? Greece just needs to move their scout a little bit. But this is what's a scary situation for Blaj. We're off to a strong start, but now let's look at this power scale. See if we're... Yep, so this is the type of thing. The beeline isn't necessarily the problem here, although Rome has been building units, but now we have a massive power spike happening in Greece, and we're just one more turn for all of those slingers. Let's check out the resource situation. I mean, we have decent wood. We won't be able to do all, but we'll be able to do about 3. We have decent training, so we could... 3 slingers could become 3 archers. We have steel right now, so Fonder is being military-minded, and this is going to see... We might see the issue of blowback. Oh, I love it! We're getting a stompy boy! We're getting an elephant. 8 turns, that's a pretty expensive elephant, but still, love to see that it's going to actually enter the game. Really, really great. Again, I feel bad here because all the nations that you want to, like, beeline and rush elephants, Greece is absolutely not the nation that you want to do that to, but it's going to be cool nonetheless. However, we could run into an issue here where Fondor's priority of military tech and now recently output is going to be in a position to overwhelm Blaj because currently we just have warriors. Literally all warriors and then 1 archer. Let's take a look at the military breakdown, in fact, for these armies here. We have 10 infantry units in Greece. Looks like 5 warriors, a spear, a hoplite, and a few militia. And then 4 slingers compared to Rome, who we're looking at all warriors, 7 warriors, 2 militias, and 1 archer. So that's going to be a tricky thing to face. If Fondor is feeling bold and aggressive and confident in his position, really needs to move this scout to get better eyes on what's happening over here. I'd love to see a move of the scout, maybe onto this wooded hill. No, we're moving forward. That's the wrong direction. Although, you know, he did see all these units move forward, so maybe he knows that these units are wounded, and he's peeking further back here just to get a look at, you know, Rome's reinforcement potential. So that's always not a bad idea as well. All right, let's take... a peek back at Rome here. All right, so we have a question in chat. Player says, hey, I'm a new player and slowly learning. Hold on, I can't see this. Okay. Hey, I'm a new player and slowly learning. But sometimes when you say you wouldn't want an elephant against Greece, that's where I'm like, why? And they wanted to ask. So basically, there's 2 reasons. First and foremost is the format that we're playing this game in. So since it's a head-to-head duel, right? There's no nations on the map. You're close. It's a smaller map. It's 1 player on the other side versus the other player on this side. They have a mirrored dynamic, so you know what your opponent has access to. You know what your opponent picks in terms of the nation, right? And basically, there's only one real main objective. Overwhelm or outlast your opponent, right? So you basically expand towards your opponent. Typically, these games will end in a big climactic battle where one player gets a clear, definitive edge, and then the other player has to surrender, right? So what that means is that these particular games are also pretty short. They can end in 50 turns. We're on turn 48 now. They can end in 50 turns, or they can end in 100 turns. Some of them last longer. We have a couple of games going to like turn 120 or whatever. But basically, they can end quickly. So that's the first part of it. So why no elephants against Greece? Greece, this is their Greek unit. It's the hoplite. Here we go. It's their unique unit. It's one of the things that they'll get early access to a powerful 6 strength unit. It's a pole arm unit, which means it has anti-mounted. It does an extra 50% damage against mounted units. So technically this is like a 9 strength unit, right? And then when this particular unit, the Greek one, gears up, teams up with other hoplites, it gets another 20%, so it's actually 70% strength. And this goes both ways, it's attack and offense against whatever mounted units it happens to be fighting. So if we look at the elephant is also a 6th strength unit, which is nice. It's nice to have. But basically the short of it is pole arms in general will really mess elephants up. And since the Greek unique unit is a better polearm, it's a better spear, yeah, it's going to really mess up the elephant. And Greece is inclined, because this unit is actually quite powerful, Greece is inclined early on to build a handful of hoplites once they have 4 laws. So you're very rarely going to encounter a match against Greece where they completely ignore the hoplite, because it's honestly just a great unit. You wouldn't want to ignore it. So, and basically that makes it hard to run, honestly, any mounted composition into Greece, with the exception of Egypt and Persia, because ranged attacks will still do full damage against melee spears. So they have a little bit of an edge there, but still hoplites would wreck. Hoplites can still wreck light chariots and Paltan cavalry on the Egyptians and Persians, as long as... Nice, we have a forced march to the center of the map. We'll see if that pays off. But the hoplite can still do serious damage to any mounted unit if it's on the attack, even if it's ranged. Let's see where we are in the tech tree here. What did we just learn? We just learned... navigation. All right, so we have navigation on Rome. Did we adopt? And we adopt serfdom. So we have a massive order advantage here, because I'm pretty sure Greece still does not have navigation. So in addition to the 10 orders-ish advantage, we have statesmen in the center, so that's another order that Rome has had. We're at 23 orders for Rome to 14, again, plus or minus worker turns. Now there's navigation adding onto that as well. That's a lot. Building a warrior in the center. And that's another thing. Even though Greece will have a more advanced army, orders can win or lose wars. So even if Greece is coming in with the better troops, it could still pose a problem if they can't move everything, or if they're moving slow and Greece and Rome is able to react better. I'll be curious to see if we see some archer upgrades now, though. Enact Constitution as an ambition. That's all right. Sovereignty's in our hand, but we're going for axes, which I think I prefer the axe pick. I think we're getting in position for our unit upgrades. We can't afford archers. I'd like to see archers now. We're building a road. This is nice. This signals to me he is thinking about invasion. Aggressive road building is good, but again, as Rome can see this buildup. So this is a little bit better scouting on Rome's part, because I'd like to see Greece having knowledge of this central site. I wouldn't automate workers. We have a comment from chat about worker automation. I know it's tedious, but don't do it. It also works funny, because the mechanism only spends orders that you save at the end of your turn. So if you spend all of your orders, then all of your automated workers won't do anything. It's a very awkward system. I would not recommend automating your workers. As long as you're making positive economy, it's fine to just stop. Like if you're making 60, I mean, you could be making more, right? But if you're making 60 stone per turn and you don't feel like moving your workers and building more quarries, okay, then whatever, then just don't. But I would rather you do nothing with your workers than automate your workers, to be totally honest. But that's me. I'm a very experienced player, so take that with a grain of salt. But I think automation is generally bad. Aristocracy in 1 turn on Rome. Done with the barracks here. Getting another gardener here. 65 science per turn on Rome. Both gardeners finished in the capital. Let's look at this culture rate. 24 culture per turn in the capital, all from these groves. And we're getting Oh, see, this is it, man. This is why I love landowners. We have 19 science per turn in this capital right here, all coming from rurals. Not a single urban specialist around. And granted, I mean, it's a little bit cheating because of the groves. Look at this. Look at this. 7.8. 7.8. That's amazing. That's such good science. So that's why I love land consolidation on landowners. What a wonderful synergy right there. Really good to see. Let's look at the best science city in Greece. Best science in city is 19, right? So this is actually the perfect comparison of the two strategies. You have the artisan span urban development and urban citizens, right? Generating 19.5 science. And then you have the landowners, land consolidation beeline. Whoa, and we just spiked up, but this was 19 science a second ago, I think. Land consolidation beeline, spam, quick access to nice rural improvement that get us goodies along with it, right? This is 3 different luxuries, right? Soon to be 4, and we have 25.5 science. So that's just amazing, man. That's an amazing contrast. I think too much of the strategic conversation around these types of things center more around which one being better than the other. And I think this game is nice enough that it's not about, urbans are always better. It's that there were different strengths to different situations. And I think Blaj is currently really leveraging the power of landowners, his Roman pick, and the tech tree and the map quite nicely now. He is in danger, though. He does have a power differential. And soon these archers and warriors are going to become... Sorry, these slingers and warriors are going to become archers and axes, and that will be a problem for the Romans. All right, back to Greece now. Another archive being built. Not too bad. 52 science on Greece. So honestly, this is pretty solid. We have 52 science on Greece to 73 on Rome. So not yet a clear, definitive advantage. Rome's obviously taking the lead here. But, Fonder, with his development, is really running a nice empire. Let's check his political situation. Still not ideal, right? But he's kind of solved the crisis. We now no longer have rebels anywhere. And if he does manage to get this Zoroastrianism spread to other cities, he'll actually have minus 10% rebel chance in his empire as long as he maintains freedom. That's pretty solid. We're doing aggressive roaming to the center of the map. I love this. This is my favorite strategy when I'm attacking as well. Lead the charge with your workers. Build your roads. No reason not to, because if your opponent wants to come out and start attacking workers, well, then you get the alpha strike. Forces your opponent to kind of waste their alpha strike on workers. And I mean, I take that trade. I'm going to spend 3, 4 orders, 6 orders to kill a worker? Why not? And then look at this movement that we're getting here. And probably, I suspect, will road along here. And then honestly, I might take a couple workers and just do a straight line, right? Just road straight across the map. That way my champion seat can keep slinging units across the map. We're getting monasticism on Rome. Not sure how I feel about that pick. What are the options? Yep, so this is where we're going to hit the issue with Rome. We have vision. We just lost our scout because it was revealed. So that sucks. But we still have all this vision, right? And what is Rome doing? Rome's making a monumental, likely game-ending blunder here. We're getting monasticism, which, I mean, I guess he's thinking, I want my 4th law, I want my unique unit to deal with this, which isn't bad thinking, but also steel and compo are available too. I mean, compo and a ballista seems nice to me. You could build Slinger. You could do exactly what Fondor was doing. In the meantime, when you're in a crisis like this and you see a threat, you could build Slingers. He's building one here across your empire. Building an Inquiry, don't really like that either. You could build Slingers across your empire, and then once Compo comes online, upgrade them, and now you have archers. So I think Although he does have plenty of developing culture to get his unique unit online, so this could be interesting how this pans out. It depends on how quick Fonder moves, but considering the movement of these workers, I think Fonder's feeling like he's going to get close. My suspicion is he has 400 wood, he has 300 iron next turn, and steel. I think what we're going to see is mass upgrade archers, mass upgrade axes, and then an attack. So Rome does not have 5 turns. And even once he's done with 5 turns, he still needs another 5 turns to build his strongholds. As opposed to getting combo, which you could get, or steel, right? He could get steel, upgrade all of the axes, and with the upgrade, you'd actually get these things done in 5 turns. So I think this monasticism is going to be a blunder. We have free ballista coming in on Greece. That could buy Blaj 4 more turns, because Fonder may decide not to go in until the ballista shows up. Moving up with an aggressive militia to protect that worker now. Draw out more potential bait. You could move up and clear out this militia, but then again, that opens you up to an attack here. Puts you out in the open off of these urban tiles. I'm just going to respond to something in chat. Alright, so here we go. We have the mass upgrade to archers, axes, and this is the thing that you don't want to see. I love this from Fonder too, because even with if Rome had vision here, this is a surprise you don't want to see, where you look at your opponent, you see a bunch of warriors and slingers, and you go, okay, I have time, and then in one turn, you just see a mass upgrade, archer, 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 axe, 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 and you realize, holy shit, I don't have time anymore. And then, the other issue here, though, is just last turn, Fonder was able to kill this scout. So, as far as Rome knows, this is all warriors and slingers. Rome doesn't actually get to see this mass upgrade. So they are in a lot of trouble. I love it. I love this play. I love this move. Nice, patient strategy from Fonder. This is what we call a mass upgrade, by the way. This is one way to spike your power. You spend a lot of time building warriors, slingers, or whatever else. And you can even do this with late game units. You can upgrade a slinger directly into a longbow. You don't have to upgrade to an archer first. So what it is, you build a lot of cheap, crappy early units, and then when you're ready with whatever power spike you're going to hit, in this case it's archers and axes, but you could, in theory, maybe not in a duel, but in single player, you could wait all the way to bodkin arrow, and then you just upgrade every single slinger you have into the highest unit you want to upgrade to, so either an archer or a longbow, and then you go kill stuff. So I think Fonder is getting ready to kill stuff. And I think we could be in a position to see a swift conclusion to this match, because I do not see a strong response to this amassing of units on the border from Rome. The only saving grace here is that Greece only has 15 orders. So moving this force is going to be a chore. So in classic fashion, Greeks' main weakness here is going to be a lack of orders. We still don't have serfdom. And, oh my god! Oh, this is the worst draw ever for Greece. Getting the ballista, which makes sense, but they have to toss navigation. So fingers crossed for Greece that navigation comes out of the discard pile next turn when we redraw and comes right back into our hand, because we really need navigation if we're going to wage a war. All right, back to Rome. Getting in a position we're fortifying. And this I actually don't hate, because we do have the orders to spend on it. This fortifying every turn takes an order. Fortifying takes an order every turn until you're fully fortified. So it can be a huge order drain. And for sometimes what feels like nothing if you have to retreat. But this is a nice response here. He did see the build-up. He didn't see this upgrade, but he is thinking, okay, maybe Fonder is staging an attack against me, so this is the worst, but I do worry that these archers are just going to come in and poke him to death and force him to back off anyway. Alright, moving over to Greece. Let's see what their decision is going to be. If they're going to be moving in now, I suspect with a 2-turn ballista, we probably wait a few more turns. But that always could come in after the fact as a backup, as a reinforcement. We could get epics and get some culture off of this assault if we wanted to. Not really any good river networks for exploration on this map. Maybe right here-ish. Kind of right here and right there, but not really. Right there, maybe. Fondor is only stronger. Not yet much stronger. We are looking at 600 strength to 390. Chopping all of these woods, making sure he can get himself lumber, but also clear cutting so he has maximized damage potential. These scrub are still going to be annoying, but maximize damage potential for once he puts all of his archers on these hills and in these woods. And I think that will be the play. You move these archers up here, and now you have just relentless poke on this city and on these units. And that's just going to be annoying to deal with. So this is really something I can't stress enough about that I love about Fondor's play here. Of course, it does show your hand a little bit. So there are some cons or drawbacks. And then, of course, it might buy your opponent time. So there are some cons to this. However, I can't stress enough that what Fondor is doing here is he's shaping the battlefield to his liking. He's giving himself roads for excess movement. He's clearing woods to make sure that he's the only person who has the ranged defense. That sucks that grow back just right now. Always clear chop. But oh wait, you can't clear chop in your opponent's borders, so never mind. That's just bad luck. But he's trying to mold the battlefield to his liking, and that's honestly very strong strategy right there. Okay, monasticism coming out. We have 87 science per turn on turn 53. That's a really solid science rate. My absolute bare minimum of science rate when you're playing a game is try to match the science you are to whatever turn you're on. So that's fine. We have 59 science on Greece. They're obviously much further behind 87, but still 59 science on turn 53 is, your bare minimum. But I honestly think in the dual arena, if you get over even just 100 science per turn, that is enough to start focusing on other priorities and start closing out games or getting, beelining particular technologies. And of course, I think anything over 200 science is overkill. It's nice to have a flashy number, but I just think, even in single player, normally once I hit 200 science per turn in single player game, which I can do quite quickly sometimes, I just stop investing in science. I invest in other things. I have had 300 or 500 science per turn in certain games, but 200 science per turn is game-winning science, and I think even in a duel, 100 science per turn is potentially game-ending science, even in a duel in this format, this tighter, close head-to-head format. It's going to get you to where you need to be in an appropriate enough time. Still more groves coming online, though. There's another grove coming on here. So this will definitely get up to 100 science shortly. Olympiads for extra orders. I dig it. Yes, no, not a bad idea. He definitely has lots of civics. And it's like a poor man's decree. The Olympiad is certainly a poor man's decree. This is 1.5 training, which he could convert to orders or use for promotions or anything like that. But certainly a poor man's decree if he wants it to. We have decree over here. No, we don't. We're getting officers, which is I like. Really keeping that science up and also going to help with our military production, which we will certainly need. One turn on our Stompy Boy. Maybe we rush another one out because there aren't actually a lot of spears in Greece right now. And we're moving in. Greece has taken the hill here. Coming up, chopping again, which I love to see. Let's see if he takes that scrub out. Man, I would have liked to see him grab the scrub too. Scrub's easy to miss, but 25% damage reduction on range is a lot more than you think it is. I've lost, I swear to God, I have lost a battle solely because my opponent was just using the weird singular lone scrub tiles in the region to their advantage. It was the most infuriating experience I've ever had. Certainly one of them. So scrubs are worth chopping too, even though they don't seem it. 1 turn on this ballista, fully entrenching ourselves on these hills, inviting our opponent to come in and attack us if they want, while we have plenty of reinforcement. And again, here's this road, right? This road paying itself off. Even if we can't move up right now, we're going. What? We just got a shitload of orders. Where did this come from? Training, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, even if we not move up in this situation, we can always move further from behind because of this wonderful road network that gets us everywhere we need to go in this combat. So really, really liking this strategic military road. And also the other thing that's nice about this, I've talked before about the tactical worker. You rode out into the distance, you clear these woods, right? And then in the combat, you actually have a worker hanging around. So you can use the worker to body block from an important unit. Or let's say somebody came up in here, you could have the worker walk around and lock them in place. They don't exert zone of control, but you can get in people's way. And they can be annoying to deal with because your opponent will waste orders trying to kill them or move around them. So I love taking... I typically take 3 workers with me into combat. I form a worker chain, and that's my road. They can also build forts if you need them to, which can be useful. So lots of really good uses for the combat worker, the tactical worker. Steal in 2 turns. We did. Haha! Good job. Good job, Blaj. He saw the crisis. He realized monasticism wasn't going to be quick enough. He's swapping to steel because he's recognizing with 300 iron in the bank, okay, I can't wait 10 turns for my unique unit. I need to get my axemen up in 5 turns. Well, what was 5 turns, and now it's going to be in 2. So that's a really great pivot for Blaj. If you're watching this after the fact, kudos to that reaction. That's the type of reaction you want to see against your opponent's movements. It's very easy to get tunnel vision and stick with a plan and think, oh, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to do this, and I'm just waiting. We're having some defensive roading. We rushed out another elephant. This is really, really good reaction from Blaj here. Let's see if we can see the elephant. Oh, no! Just 1 tile. If this elephant was just 1 tile away, it would be surprise for Greece. That's a bummer. I really wanted the Stomper boys to surprise. Look at this. 10 damage out in the open. 10 damage. Stompy! 6 damage to a spear. The spear is going to do 8 damage back, though. But 10 damage to a spear out in the open. Where's that hoplite, though? That hoplight's going to mess this thing up. 9 damage compared to only 4, but it's not on flat in clear. But that would have been nice if this thing was in the clouds and Greece didn't know about it. But anyway, kudos to Blaj for nice reaction to the threat. And obviously the threat is in front of him now, but some of this, like the steel pivot, happened before this advance took place. So kudos to you. Back to Rome. Oh, and we got exactly what we needed. We needed navigation to cycle back into the deck. Let's see if he grabs it, because our one weakness in this situation as Greece is the orders, and he's grabbing Polis because nothing makes sense. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right, he was just trolling me. Never mind. Forgive me. I overreacted. Oh, yeah. Yeah, all right. So I was wondering where all the orders came. She's bought the orders. We have 15 uses of the schemer orders in this match. Let's take a quick look. And compared to none, it was never used when Rome had a schemer on the throne. So great use of the extra orders here, and that will become in clutch as well, Greece. Thanks, chat, for pointing that out. I had forgotten that that there was still a schemer on the throne. So honestly, he has everything he needs now. He can get himself an extra 10 orders per turn, and he's going right in with a militia. Love this. There's a raid coming in. Target. This is my favorite thing to do in the game. It's not even that big of a deal. It's not like it's overpowered. It's just such a satisfying thing. I love, more than anything, attacking into someone at the exact same time that they're getting raided. It's just so satisfying, because at some point in the course of this battle, Rome is going to have to kill these 2 units. And so it's just such a satisfying thing to have happening. Of course, he did put himself in the middle of the way of these, so these things will probably kill the militia first, but whatever. All right, we're coming up with archers, and we're going to take first blood of the match. Well, I guess first blood with the scout down here, but first blood in actual combat. Things are heating up. This is a really, really strong position. Rome is still only weaker. That elephant coming online is certainly going to help. These elephants still can do a good amount of damage, but the problem is as soon as you run up here with an elephant, it will immediately die. The hoplite will be on elephant patrol, the spear will be on elephant patrol, and then a couple of archers will be able to finish it off for sure. All right, we're headed back over to Rome now. We took first kill as Greece. Rome has to make a serious, important decision here. And unfortunately, I think the only correct decision is to run. You cannot fight this battle. Your steel is coming online. You have a bunch of full health warriors. You need to upgrade them. You have to run. Give up the central city. Buy yourself more time. You have more slingers coming online. More units coming online. This is the most uncomfortable and awkward situation to be in this game, because it's entirely possible you're just going to lose anyway, right? I think Fondor has a game-winning army right here. We're building a wall. That's not going to do anything. So it's like, if Fondor can win off of this one battle by winning this one battle, then your best strategic advantage, decision that you can make to win is to surrender the battle, retreat, and keep your troop count high. Because if Fondor deletes this entire army, then you definitely won't be able to win the match. So it looks like Rome is staying, and I think this is going to be a decisive mistake on Blaj's part. It certainly doesn't feel great to retreat and just hand your opponent a city, but I really don't think Blaj has a choice here. We could get border boost. That's nice. Oh, we just got steel from a science boost. We just got 55 science, so we have the ability to upgrade axes. That actually would be nice. A couple of upgraded axes. I still would like to see some retreat here, because now it's possible some of these axes will just get killed immediately. But this is a better situation for us. Let's see. We can upgrade another axe. We can upgrade another axe with some sails, sell some stone. We could probably upgrade another axe afterwards. I think we have enough economy to upgrade 2 more axes. Let's see if he does some stone sails. Yep. Another axe. Building more roads. Yeah, he could have rushed out the inquiry to speed up steel, but luckily he didn't have to. What else? We're grabbing the border boost. Honestly, spoked wheel, oddly enough, I'm not seeing enough spears here. That spoked wheel could be useful here. We do have... Where do we have horses? Do we have horses? We have horses up here and decent military production up here. So, I mean, a couple of routers, even in the face of, Greece. Look at this. Every single unit here, with the exception of 2, are routable. So it doesn't matter if your chariot immediately gets exploded the next turn because Greece does Greece things. If you can still take out 4 archers. Oh, it looks like we're backing off. Fondor is not feeling this. The elephant's probably scaring them away. Great. Nice posturing. Okay, I stand corrected. I was advising Blaj to retreat, expecting Fondor to go in hard here. But with these fortifications, I guess it feels like he doesn't have the damage. He doesn't want to go overextend himself. Maybe he wants to wait for the ballista to move up to the front line. We do have the free ballista, which will do quite a number on these axes, and it would be the smarter thing to wait for this. Protect the ballista from the elephants with your spears. So, all right. Okay. That will give us... We might have approximately 5 turns to get these walls out. Okay. Really interesting to see. Really interesting to see. And also, I suppose, as a schemer, even though you can buy those orders, you don't want to put yourself in the situation where you're spending that legitimacy every single turn just to fight a war. So even waiting for navigation could make sense here as well. Hopping back to Rome, 93 science per turn on Rome, so we can definitely start taking spoked wheel back in the hand again. We can definitely start taking advantage of our science lead here. What else could we grab? A battle line grab would be clutch. So maybe Phalanx into battle line and spend more money to upgrade these, leave some warriors hanging around that now that Fonder has backed off, and then upgrade our warriors into macemen. That could be fun. Or maybe just shoot straight up for hydraulics. The ballista will devastate the Greek unique unit, but we're quite a ways from that. Would be curious to see where he goes. Getting a free Hestestus, that will help us. Okay, so we did our scholar tech cycle ability, which is nice. Putting barracks out. Nice to see a diversification of barracks across the empire. And we have a third Stompy Boy in the field. Honestly, I love this because, a 6-strength unit is a 6-strength unit. Even though we don't have a lot of hoplites in Greece. We don't have a lot of spears in Greece. We have lots of axes, lots of archers. So even if this thing can get blown up by just the 2 spears that Greece does have, you're still going to do a massive chunk of damage to anything else that you hit, especially if it's out in the open. So that's not bad. Nice to see the addition of elephants. The Roman elephant. Oh, and unfortunately, just to think they're heating up in classic fashion, our players will be concluding this session. I don't blame them. It's been a couple of hours. It's been 2.5 hours now. So we will likely be coming to a close soon. Great tension. Almost a definitive battle, but I think this axe upgrade and the presence of his Stompy Boys in the back line, which, Greece is able to see, so Greece is able to see that there's a little bit more power here than maybe he was anticipating, caused Fonder to hold the line and hold the assault. I still think the ballistic could help out, but yeah, look at this massive shift in power from Rome, climbing back up just in time, just in the nick of time, really behind Greece for much of this, and then just a quick shoot up across a couple of turns. And this is the power of rushing production. One of these elephants was built normally, and the other 2 were rushed out, so that really helped his even out his power scale. And of course, Greece can now see that they're similar in power as well. Yeah, that's a good point. Chat pointing out that the elephant can be used to break up a formation of hoplites, and even if you can't move them around, elephants would disarm the hoplites, reducing the 20% damage boost anyway. I'll be really curious to see what tech gets selected here. All right. So, 17 order. Wait, how we're ending this? Let me know when to save and quit. All right, yeah. So they'll be ending here. I don't think Fonder is going to take his turn at all once Rome takes their worker turn. So I'll do a quick stat recap of the game so far. We have national wealth in favor of Rome, 2,000 to 763. Population favors Rome because, of course, that's landowners. Specialist, 18 in Rome to 10 on Greece. That's another shining of the landowners, in my opinion. You can get those specialists out much quicker, less taxing on your build queue. Workers, 8 on Rome to 6 in Greece. Military units, 13 on Rome, but don't forget he did lose 2 to Greece's. Actually, he's lost about 3 at this point because Greece killed 1. But to Greece's 11, so they're just about even in their military score. Laws, we have 3 in Rome to 2 on Greece. 19 techs to Greece to 15 on Rome. improvements, 54 improvements in Rome to 38 on Greece. So there is a much better level of development over in Rome. For the big yields that we care about, massive science advantage going into Rome, coming into the second half of the game. Just only 200 more science invested into the tech tree, though. That's going to be a result of that beeline taking him more time to research. And yeah, but this is going to start to grow a divide in power between both players that will be interesting to see. For military score, we've already gone over this, but we have a sharp spike on Rome, catching up to Greece, and orders still a net advantage to Rome. All right, if you've been tuning in live, I appreciate you being here. Hopefully we can all catch the second half shortly in the next week or so. And if you're watching after the fact on YouTube, I appreciate you checking out the content. Please give us a like, a subscribe, or hop over to the Mohawk YouTube channel to check out the tournament playlist. I'm Siontific, and this has been the Old World Community Tournament. Thanks for tuning in.